Hi everyone, it's Jackie Sabrin, your love coach, and I wanted to do a 15 to 20 minute live coaching call, and because I received a lot of questions when I asked you to hit reply on my email last week about my ghosting story, and I have three great questions that I was asked, and I want to cover those and then talk a little bit about emotional intimacy. And so the first question that I got was, so she wants to know how long is too long to wait it out to get engaged and married. So she's in a relationship and she wants to know how long she should wait it out to be married and engaged. And so she's a little confused about that. And also, how do you navigate the transition to date others to make sure she's making a good decision for herself? And she's ready to start a family, and she feels like she's lagging behind from her partner. So she wants to get married, she wants to have children, she wants to know how long she should wait it out before he asks her to marry him. And so I'm really excited about answering this question because it really comes down to emotional intimacy, right? I mean, you have to ask yourself, how intimate do you want your relationships to be? And I would say if you want to get married, then you want your relationships to be emotionally intimate. And so the amount of emotional intimacy and honest truth that you're willing to share with another person about yourself depends on how much emotional intimacy you want with that person. The more intimate you want the relationship to be, the more truth you must be willing to share. It's that simple. And so let me break that down into piece by piece. So basically, I would recommend that she is more emotionally courageous and share how she really feels about what it is she wants out of life instead of waiting and lagging behind and doing this time period. Ladies, you have to be very upfront in the very beginning when you start dating what your intentions are. You have to show up with more emotional courage. All three of these questions have to do with the courage, having the courage to be emotionally intimate with the man that you're dating or the men that you're going out with. And so in the beginning, it's best if you just answer that question on the first couple of dates. And what you can do is weave it into the conversation, things like, oh, I'm really excited about settling down and having children someday, and probably doing a little traveling. What about you? What are you excited about? And see what he says. I mean, before you have any emotions or time invested, it's okay to ask those questions up front. You're really genuinely curious, right? And if he's not interested, if he's like, well, I'm enjoying dating and having fun, you're like, great, continue to have a nice date with him. But if you date somebody for more than a month and you haven't talked to him about what your long-term plans are, you can say something like this. Especially if you're getting close, like this woman is, she's been dating. You can say things like, baby, what's your vision for us? So maybe you have a really intimate evening and you're feeling particularly close. You can say, ask him to share his vision for you. Believe me, he has a vision. And what women do is they like milestones. Women like, we say, okay, we went out on Valentine's Day, and then we went, then Easter, and now it's summer, and now it's fall, and so we're ready. We like timeline, but men don't think like that. And so you have to communicate very clearly what it is you're wanting. So you can ask questions like, especially if he's saying things like, oh, this fall we're going to take a trip, or, I want you to meet my family. If he's saying things like that, then you can say, that sounds so exciting. What's your vision for us? How do you see that playing out? Do you think that we will move there, or kind of lead into it and see what he says? He might shy away from answering that question, and I'll tell you why. Because he might need to go think about it. He might need to withdraw into his cave and in his mind and think about what he is going to share with you. But believe me, he's thinking about it, because men do want to be in committed, intimate relationships. It's just a matter of finding one that you're on the same page with. So that's why you want to pre-qualify them or vet them in the very beginning so that you don't waste any time. You don't waste their time either. It's not like you're putting pressure on them, but you're being honest and emotionally intimate, taking some risks right up front for a bigger game. You have to take that step to be more emotionally courageous. And so to answer her question, I would say that if you have not had that conversation with your boyfriend and you've been dating for some time, then I would ask him, what he, how many children he wants, and what is your life going to look like together in a couple of years, or what his 5-year plan is, and see what he says. I mean, just sit there and be quiet, okay, and let him answer you. Because believe me, he has an answer, and if he doesn't have an answer, you can say, why don't you think about it for a couple of days, and we can talk about it again in a week. Give him a week, and you can talk about it again. But don't sit there and wonder and talk to your friends and hope and wish, because that's not honest communication. That's not being emotionally intimate. So if you want to be married to somebody, you certainly need to learn to be more emotionally honest with him, because the more intimacy you want with that person requires that you open up and share what it is that you want and what's important to you. And so another one of the questions that was really good was it was a ghosting story. And she went out with a man for 7 months, and they were seeing each other several times a week. And out of the blue, he ghosted her. And so she didn't talk to him for a month after that. And she finally decided that she wanted to reach out and ask him why he disappeared, because she was crushed and she was shocked. And she thought that things were going really well, and that was the last thing that she expected. And honestly, that's a long time to go out with somebody and have him ghost her. So that's very upsetting, and I'm really sorry that she's having that experience. And so I don't want to use her name, but I want to say that that's really hard, and I'm sorry that you're having that experience. And so when she asked him after a month, he was willing to talk with her, and he shared that he said that while he considered that they were exclusively dating during this past 7 months, they never really talked about it. And so he decided he wanted to start dating other women. And the reason why he said that he didn't tell her was because technically they weren't breaking up, because they had never declared that they were exclusive. And so I'm going, what? So that's just total rationalize, right? He's rationalizing his bad behavior. And so I'm not condoning or excusing what he did, but here's the mistake that she made. She went out with him for 7 months and wasn't emotionally honest with him about how she was feeling. And she didn't ask him and talk to him about that exclusive card. And that is something that you want to do. And so you want to wait for the man to initiate that conversation. But if he doesn't initiate it and you're sleeping with him, you really need to get clear on how many sexual partners you're having, right? It's really important that you're honest about if you have an open relationship and you're sleeping with other people, you need to make sure that you're using protection and you're honest about that. And if you're not, don't make the assumption that you're exclusive unless he points it out. And so he backpedaled. He came back and said that he technically didn't think that they were in an exclusive relationship because they never really discussed it, even though in the beginning he felt that they were. And so she said he's a really good guy, but I'm like, well, a really good guy is more emotionally honest than that. And so I'm sure he had some good qualities, but emotional honesty wasn't one of them. But I would say the mistake that she made was not being upfront in the beginning about what she wanted, and that if they were going to sleep together, that she wanted to be certain that he was on the same page in terms of being exclusive, and that would require for her to be more emotionally courageous. What I see happening with women is that we're too afraid to take emotional risks, and because we don't want to alienate the man. But guess what? 7 months later, you get ghosted. It's worth the risk, because you don't want to spend 7 months with a man and have that confusion and that pain. And also, I think he's going to respect you more for being honest, for having the courage to put yourself first and your needs and wants, and communicate those to him, and give him the option to decide what he's going to do from there. But to just go along and think that you're exclusive when it's never been discussed. And the worst thing about this was, it was Valentine's Day was the last time she saw him. and she didn't hear from him for a month, and then she reached out to him. And so if that's ever happened to you, reach out to him. I mean, that's another part of being emotionally intimate. Because she dated him for 7 months, she definitely should have reached out and called him, not sent him a text, called him and said, hey, what's up? You know, what's going on? I haven't heard from you. I haven't seen you since Valentine's Day. I mean, I would have followed up the next day like, you know, I had an amazing evening. How are you? And after 7 months, I would expect him to be in touch with me. And when I didn't hear from him, I would certainly reach out and find out, hey, is everything okay? You know, something happened. And so she didn't reach out to him for a month. And so definitely reach out to these men. Ask them those tough questions. Put yourself in a hot seat, because you've got to get clear, because time is so precious, right? It's our most precious asset. It's not money, it's time. And we all get 24 hours, and it's not promised. Tomorrow's not promised. And so men really do respect you for being emotionally courageous and taking risks, because they don't want a doormat for a wife. They don't want a doormat for a girlfriend. They want a woman who has an opinion, isn't afraid to share that, but it's how you share it. Again, using a feather, not hammering men, but having the courage to sit down and have a face-to-face. And so that's what happened to her ghosting story. There's a couple mistakes that she made along the way that could have avoided some of that heartbreak. Just like when I was ghosted, and I knew, you know, looking back, there was mistakes that I made. I never asked him about being exclusive. I never asked him about what his long-term relationship plans were. I knew that he'd broken up recently with a girlfriend. So I knew all these things, but I continued to ignore them. And I paid a price for that, and I will never do that again. So learn from your mistakes, because they're not really mistakes, they're lessons in life. If we learn from them, we don't have to repeat them. That's the good part. And another good thing is that she was with him for 7 months. That's something to celebrate. 7 months is a good amount of time. That means that you are on track to manifest your soulmate. You just get back in there and continue to focus on all the things you did like about the relationships, all the things you do want, and don't focus on the things that you didn't like and don't want. And you will not repeat those things. And then let me check and see if there's any questions. I have one more, and you guys are going to die when I share this last question with you. And hi, Laura. Hi, Maureen. Hi, honey. Hi, Wanda. Hi, Julie. Julie got married recently. Congratulations. I'm sure she's still on the honeymoon. She's so beautiful. And Cynthia. Hi, Cynthia. I'm just saying hi to everybody. Hi, Laura. Hi, Dawn. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Terry. Nice to see you. Let's see if we have any questions here. We have a couple men on our page. Not that I'm ignoring you guys, but this is all about the ladies right now. Hi, John. I'm going to say hi to John. I haven't talked to you in a while. And so the last thing I wanted to share is, this was an awkward question for one of my subscribers to ask me. And so, but I want to be emotionally honest with you, because the amount of emotional honesty that I can share with you will help us to create a more intimate, deep, juicy relationship. And I'm all about being emotionally intimate and having deep, juicy relationships with the people that I share my life with. And since I'm sharing my life with you, I'm more than happy to talk to you about these awkward, difficult questions. So her question was, she went out with a man for a month. They decided to take it to the next level, planned a beautiful weekend, went away, and discovered that he was too big for her. And I am referring to his anatomy. So he was too big, and it didn't work, didn't fit. And so they discussed it on what to do, and he said that it was a deal breaker for him. And I can see why. And she's a little heartbroken, because they had a lot of beautiful qualities, and he said he loved her. And so she thought, why can't they make it work? And I'm going to say that something like sexual connection is really important. We're sexual beings, and it really does need to work in and out of the bedroom, especially if you're sexually active. And I recommend that you are with your partner, because it's a beautiful way to have experience unbelievable intimacy, of course, you know that. And so as much as heartbreaking as that is, that was something that I want you to look at, the spin it in a positive way, okay? The fact that he was really honest with you, I love that about this man. The fact that you attracted him and he told you he loved you, I want you to focus on how good that felt and how wonderful it is to know that you're in a position in your life and the things that you're doing are working. You attracted a man who fell in love with you and was honest enough to tell you the truth about why that wasn't going to work for him. And honestly, in the long run, you are suppressing something, and I want you to really take a harder look at that, because it would not be good for you and be comfortable for you over time to continue to have sex with somebody that wasn't the right size for you. That would be something physically that could cause damage. Reconnect. Okay, here we go. We're back. So you have to look at having some boundaries. I mean, it's not okay to put yourself in a position where you could physically have some repercussions. So look at all the good. I always say look at all the good. Notice the good things. If you want more of those, think about all the good that he brought into your life, and give yourself a month to release the energy, to move that energy from him and move on. You know, the faster you move on, one door closes, another one opens. It's all about timing and staying in the present moment and continuing to move forward. Don't get stuck in the past, because the past does not exist. It's over. All we have is this beautiful moment. So embrace it, right? Embrace it. And so I don't see any more questions here. And so make your relationships intimate. That wouldn't work for me either. Good. Yeah, there's lots more men in the sea. Get out there and unhook him. You know, the hook's in your mouth right now. He's already swam away, but you're the one who's still on the hook if you're emotionally still attached to him. So take the hook out of your own mouth so you can set yourself free. Be grateful that you had that experience and that honesty, and get back out there, and you're going to connect with your soulmate. So make sure you've signed up for my summit that's starting on Monday, so you can meet my soulmate husband, Michael. We have a great interview that we're dying to share with you. EngagedAtAnyAge.com. You'll get my free how to take a first date and turn it into a relationship PDF as soon as you sign up. If you haven't done that, go ahead and do that. And also, I have a private secret Facebook group. And it's not this page that I'm talking on now, where I'm doing more coaching, and my amazing team of love coaches are there, and we're coaching you through all these dating dilemmas that we need to master in order to become socially skilled, highly functional, emotionally mature women that men love. Okay, this is all for today. Lots of love to all of you. Talk to you later. Bye. Thank you for being here.